The next guest, the guy who's going to be in the red chair, has made the kinds of films that many of us can identify with growing up laughing. I mean, everything from Back to the Future, Romancing the Stone, Castaway. I mean, who hasn't talked into a volleyball differently since seeing that? And of course, so many other things. His next one, though, it's really poignant, and it's one, I mean, centers around a plane crash. It's called Flight. You've probably seen the commercials for it, the trailers for Denzel Washington's film. But there's really more than just that. It's almost a metaphor for a life crashing as well, especially when it comes to dealing with alcohol and drug addiction. It's something that a lot of people can relate to, and not always in a strong way. Sometimes it's far too direct. So we're going to get into that conversation with one of the most successful filmmakers in Hollywood history, Robert Zemeckis. What a life. Here's his bio. These days, at like the big Hollywood movies, original ideas seem hard to come by. You get all your sequels and your remakes and your movies based on board games because they think that's where the audience wants to go. But Robert Zemeckis has managed to make films that are both popular and original.
Hey, Roger, what do you call the middle of a song? Gee, I don't know.
Robert's filmography cuts across everything from comedy,
Joan Wilder, welcome to Columbia,
to sci-fi, and it's reached new depths, both visually and emotionally.
well done.
He's earned respect, too. An Oscar for Forrest Gump, which became sort of a cultural phenomenon.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
As did the Back to the Future movies, which may have been very different if Robert had stuck with his original lead actor. Now he's back in the present, teaming up with Denzel Washington. It's a film called Flight. It's a story of a pilot on the brink that really explores the concept of what makes a hero.
We are in a dive.
I have no control on my side.
We going down? Everybody embrace positions.
Please welcome to the program, Robert Zemeckis. Come on, man. Nice to meet you. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You spend a lot of time in planes, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do spend a lot of time. I'm actually a pilot as well.
Right.
Yeah,
so the reason I asked this is because between this film and Castaway, do the pilots union and the airlines just say, "You're killing me here, dude"?
No, I know. It's like everyone. When I said to all my all my advisors and all my partners, and I said, this is a really great script. They go, "Oh, it's got a plane crash in it. You're going to be known as the plane crash guy." And I said, well, I can't help it. It's too important of a movie not to make.
When you're dealing with something so serious as this, and in such a raw way as Denzel portrayed it,
for sure.
Is it of greater import when you're telling this story?
For me, I tell them the same way. Whether it's a silly time travel story or
I didn't say it was silly.
No, you didn't. No. Or a harrowing story like this one, because that's how I describe it. It's harrowing. I mean, the plane crash is harrowing, and then Denzel's life is harrowing. That's what's so great about Denzel, the way he portrays his character, because you can feel it. I mean, you can feel it in the movie. I mean, I love the fact that every time in the film that you see him sort of take a drink, you get that, he's just miserable. I mean, it's misery drinking.
Michael Douglas, Michael J. Fox, Tom Hanks, so many others, Denzel Washington. Is there something about, can you identify something in that leading character, that leading man, just by looking at him?
All the guys you mentioned have screen presence. They're actors that, whatever that thing is that they're born with, we like to watch them on the screen. We like to watch them. We like to identify with them as humans. But then, they got to have the ability to reach down and be basically, I think it's just honesty. You see honesty in their performance.
You guys included it on the Back to the Future series, but on the later DVDs, but it was on the internet before that, the idea of you shot it with Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with his ability. There was a situation where Eric is a brilliant actor. I mean, we love him in all things. It's just that I simply miscast him, and I learned a very serious lesson. And it's like it's not worth it. It's too painful for everybody. What you have to do is you have to cast the movie the right way and feel really right about it. Otherwise, don't go down that road.
He's a great actor, though.
Yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely great.
With a little clip of it, just so people can see that Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly at one point.
He just said, "I don't think we're getting the laughs that I was hoping we would get." And I looked at Bob and I realized that he was absolutely correct. And I said, "Bob, what do you want to do?"
So I had to make this horrific decision, which was very heartbreaking for everybody.
Yeah,
And that's
it was
the moment.
rough. Yeah, it's tough.
What is a director who's the leader of, when you sit down and tell the actor, what was that like?
Telling him that I was going to replace him.
Yeah.
That was horrible. That was the worst experience in my career. It was just horrible. It was like, you know, never want to do that again.
Spielberg's in this. Spielberg means a lot to you, doesn't he?
Well, Spielberg was he was my mentor both in the business and as a filmmaker. He produced my first movie, and he produced Back to the Future.
A couple decades on, do you know why Forrest Gump was a cultural phenomenon? Can you put a finger on it?
I mean, I think it was just a story that was. I actually think the story was about different forms of grieving. You know, we were kind of grieving the end of an era, the grieving of sort of the the end of the American dream, and all these different types of grief that were themes that ran through the movie. But they were done in a way that made it really palatable. So it was a way that it could be cathartic in a way.
Good to see you, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Robert Zemeckis. The film is called Flight. It's a really good film. You can see it in the theaters on November the 2nd. We'll be right back.
Appreciate it. Thank you.